What's up, everybody? And welcome to another episode. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Hit the join button and become a member. Why? Well, members get exclusive content. Just ask them. Well, let's get into it. The Crip that stabbed a Southsider, not surprisingly, in High Desert State Prison. Because again, as I alluded to before, High Desert is the most violent prison in California. Pelican Bay is the most famous prison in California, but High Desert is by far the most violent. And in my next video, my very next video, I'm going to get into the end to all hostilities between the Southsiders and the Norteños. Many people feel like the stabbing that happened in High Desert was a result of the end to all hostilities because they believe that the Southsider, the Mexican Mafia, the inmate that was stabbed by the Crip was drunk with power. Now, I wasn't there. I am on the streets. I am free. I am not in prison. Let's get that clear. So I was not there. I, however, was in High Desert for 7 years. This is where this incident transpired. By all accounts, I've heard Southsiders speak on this incident and Norteños, and they even said that the Southsider that was stabbed by the Crip from San Diego 30s was irritating the Crip, messing with him, burdening him for whatever reason, whatever interactions that they had. They were getting into it. And many people feel like the Southsider was trying to bully him or just irking him and poking at him for trivial reasons. Apparently, some people believe that he was drunk with power, believing that the black would never attack him because he's a Mexican Mafia member. Now, as I alluded to before in my prior video, typically when an incident happens in one prison, it does not transfer. In that same video, however, I issued a caveat. I did say that if it was a Mexican Mafia member or a powerful black, that it would possibly transfer to another prison. In this situation, it transferred to another prison because of the person that committed the act. He went to another prison. He's the one that committed the act, and he went to another prison. So naturally, there was going to be a response with him. If it had happened in High Desert and he didn't transfer to another prison, nothing would have happened in any other prison. But it happened in a prison that he transferred to because he was the culprit. And what happened was, from my understanding, as I said before, I'm sure many of you have already heard the story. This happened some time ago in High Desert. And I know that it made the rounds on the YouTube channels. But from my understanding, again, the Southsider, drunk with power, feeling invincible, and that's what power does to you. See, they had this end to all hostilities, and they have united and probably feeling impervious, impenetrable, that no one can affect them or touch them, and that no one would dare try. But that's not the case. This is prison, and we're all men. And regardless, even though it's another race, if someone takes umbrage, if someone feels slighted because of something that you've done, that person is bound to respond appropriately and accordingly, regardless of who you are. This Crip knew that this was a Mexican mafia member. Naturally, he knew that there would be repercussions for such an attack with a weapon against a Mexican mafia member. Apparently, he didn't care. He felt like this guy had disrespected him, and regardless of who you are. So if it was a black that had did it, it would have been okay for him to attack him. But since it was a South Side of the Mexican Mafia, he wasn't supposed to attack him. Damn all that. So he attacked him as he was supposed to if he felt disrespected by this person. And by all accounts, that's exactly what transpired. He felt irritated, poked upon, and disrespected, and he responded accordingly. Well, he transferred to Salinas Valley State Prison. When he transferred, after the stabbing in High Desert of the Mexican Mafia member, the Crip from San Diego 30s, he transferred, I'm not going to say his name, what difference does it make? He transferred to Salinas Valley State Prison. Salinas Valley being a level 4, 180. I was there. I paroled again in October of 2009 from Salinas Valley. And it's very dangerous, as is all 180s. Now, there are different accounts as to what precisely transpired. On one hand, someone says that the Crip was in the day room. On the other hand, they say that he was in front of the building. Either way, what is a fact, whether he was in the day room or in front of the building, he was attacked by two Southsiders with weapons. They stabbed him up. Now, the Crip was able to get to the other day room, or some blacks got to the other day room to alert the blacks saw, it depends on who you ask, they saw what was transpiring, the blacks that were in the day room. However it happened, they saw what was going on, or caught wind to what was going on, that this Crip was being attacked by two Southsiders. They should have already been on alert, knowing that he was on the yard, because the Southsiders had approached the blacks already and told the blacks to remove the Crip from the yard, that he had stabbed, as they already knew, one of their people in a different prison, and they wanted him off the yard because the person that he stabbed was a high-ranking member, etc. The Crip said he felt disrespected by that man, and he took care of business. We're not going to punish him for being a man. We're not going to punish him for taking care of business. He did what he was supposed to do if he took umbrage to something that your people was doing. So no, we're not going to remove him from the yard, because again, a removal means that you poke on him and get him off the yard. So the Crips refused. And as I alluded to in one of my prior videos, the rules, the protocol is, if someone takes umbrage to something you've done or said, and they then ask the group that you belong to remove you from the yard, and they do not remove you from the yard, what did I say was going to happen? It's going to go up, right? Of course, this is the natural order. And so the Crips refused to get him off the yard. They should have known then that it was going to go up and been on heavy alert and had security around the Crip dude. Is how it should have went. Whatever happened, they were able to get to him and attack him. The Crips in the day room responded once they caught wind of what was going on, what had just transpired with their people. They attacked a couple of Southsiders with weapons in the day room right then and there immediately. The Southsiders responded with weapons. They began to stab and attack each other. A few of them ended up in the hospital. The Crip that was the target, he got hit pretty good. And he left the yard. What oftentimes happens, it's happened to me many times, is, particularly in the county jail, where it's less structure, the Southsiders would come to me often because I was the leader over some perceived infraction, no matter how minute the infraction was that one of my people committed. And they would say, man, we want him out of the module. Get him out of here. And oftentimes, I would tell them, that's not going to happen. I'm not moving him anywhere. I'm not going to attack my people violently or have someone attack my people violently with a weapon because you feel like he did something wrong. Because I've been in scenarios and situations where blacks are too quick to acquiesce. They're too docile. The Southsiders come to them and say, get him off the yard. And in order to circumvent a riot, not that they're necessarily scared, but again, violence is always the last resort. Why? Because people die in these riots. They die in violence. And so we try to avoid them. Sometimes other groups know that the word is to avoid the violence. And if they have numbers and weapons, then they try to push in line. And any little thing that you do, or that one of your people do, they say, man, get him off the yard. We want you to remove him. It's really them just flexing their power and their strength. And oftentimes, I would tell them, that's not going to happen. I'm not getting him off the yard because he ain't done nothing wrong or nothing worthy of us poking on him. We're not about to attack our own people to satisfy you. And that's what happened there in that situation. They asked the Crips to get the dude off the yard that had attacked their people. The Crips feeling like what he did was justified, said, we're not going to attack him for attacking your people. We're not going to attack him for being a man. He did what he was supposed to do. So no. And again, they should have known from there that it was going to go up. And it did. And okay, that's fine. Those are the sort of things that happen. But a lot of it, people believe, was initiated because of the end to all hostilities. People have different opinions as to how and why the end to all hostilities transpired. I'm going to get into that in my next video. I'm going to get into that in my very next video because I too have feelings about the end of all hostilities and the unification of the Southsiders and the Norteños. What's the reason and the purpose behind it? What is their mission? And how do blacks feel about it? And how should blacks feel about it? Well, I'm going to offer my opinion, and it may be a bit controversial. But that's okay. I have to speak the truth as I see it and let the chips fall where they may. And that's exactly what I plan on doing. Now, the latest on the incident in Salinas Valley is that it's still an ongoing thing, naturally. There was an attack with a weapon on both sides, different races. So there's a war, and it's not going to end anytime soon because of the bloodshed that's already transpired. And, well, the Norteños, they came to the Crips and basically issued an ultimatum about what had transpired with the Southsiders and the Crips, or they went to the blacks in general. They went to the Bloods, they went to the blacks, the Norteños did. And made it be known where they stood, which many blacks have taken umbrage to, understandably so. We're going to get into it in our next video. In the meantime, stay free, people.